that and start webinar. So it'll just be a few minutes while the folks come in. Okay. We are ready to go, Madam Mayor.
Okay. Should we wait for just a few more minutes for folks to come in? There's not a whole pile in the waiting room.
There's a few coming in. We've got 3 attendees.
Okay, let's call the meeting to order. I have a motion moved by Victor Hayes and seconded by Brett Cameron that the agenda for the regular council meeting for January the 25th, 2022 be approved as. Are there amendments, Kathy?
Yes, there are. Under number 7, under the staff reports, items C and D to deal with fire and emergency services, both of those reports will be moved and done after the number 9, after the delegations. Also 7G, the administration one regarding the request to obtain an easement. The resolution has been slightly changed. It's more for information for council, and we'll discuss that at that time. But that's all I have.
Okay. All right. Okay, so the agenda be approved as amended. All those in favor? Carried. Is there any disclosure pecuniary interest in general nature thereof of any item on tonight's agenda by any member of council? Seeing none, we'll note that in the minutes. Motion moved by Nikki Gowdy and seconded by Bill McDonald that the minutes of the regular council meeting held January the 11th, 2022 be approved as presented. Any discussion or comments on the minutes? All those in favor? Carried. Next is mayor's remarks, and just a few remarks. I want to say a big shout out to our fire department and each and every one of them that are out doing their jobs in this crazy weather. As you know, one of our staff had a house fire, and she and the boys got out safely, and our fire department was there through like -30 weather. Very, very difficult times. And a special thank you to Chris Henderson, Ryan Beatty, and Guy McLeod, who the day of the house fire got together muffins and coffee and hot chocolate that they paid for themselves, and Chris delivered them to the firefighters on Belline Road. So such a great offer of kindness from a small community in folks that care about our firefighters. And again, thank you to each and every one of them. COVID update, we're looking at phasing out or phasing back into normal life, but I think it's going to be slow. So the 31st of January will be the first of some reopening, and then it's going to be phased into February and March. I wasn't on the call with Dr. Oglaza yesterday. I was at the Roma conference, but I think from what I hear on TV, Kingston Hospital has got a few cases on a number of different floors. So we're certainly not out of it yet. So we still need to be very careful and cautious and wear the mask and wash our hands and distance and all of those things they've been telling us. Apparently yesterday was 2 years from the day that we had our first case in Canada. So 2 years we've been doing this, and let's hope we're soon talking about an endemic instead of a pandemic. Deputy Mayor Sherry, do you have anything to add?
Just through you, Madam Mayor, I'm glad you mentioned our fire department. I know they've been responding to a few fires, and a special mention again to the public works. That amount of snow we had last week was terrible. I know it would have been hard for them to keep up.
You're right. They did an excellent job with 3 feet of snow. It seemed like that kind of a dump hopefully we'll only get once every 10 years or so, or 100 years would even be better.
Mhm.
Okay, does anyone have anything else to add? Okay, then we'll move on to, are there any deferred items?
None.
No? All right, staff reports. We have a motion moved by Philip Smith. We don't have Philip tonight.
No, he's not on yet. He said he was going to be a few minutes late, so.
Okay. All right, so moved by Nikki Gowdy and seconded by Sherry Wan, that council approve the check distribution reports totaling $1,498,088.58 as prepared by the treasurer. Any discussion? All those in favor? Motion's carried. That's a pretty big month, Michael.
It is, Madam Mayor, but we've had bigger, so I like this. I can deal with this.
Okay. Next, we have a motion moved by Cindy Kelsey and seconded by Tom Dewey that council approve the following apportionments of assessment as recommended by impact for 2021 and 2022 as applicable for the following roll numbers. And there are 4 roll numbers there. Any questions or comments on those roll numbers for Michael? Okay, seeing none, all those in favor? Motion's carried.
Thank you, council. Wish everybody a happy new year. I'm a little bit late, but it's the first time I've seen you all.
Oh, that's true. Thank you, Michael. All right, and now we're moving down to administration. Get myself organized here. Great. I have a motion moved by Bill McDonald and seconded by Victor Hayes that council received the follow-up cemetery report from December the 14th, 2021, as prepared by the administrator assistant for information. Discussion on that report. Bill, go ahead.
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor. Through you, I want to thank Donna for the report, because the way I read the report was basically the way that I was thinking, is that we, in the most part, are at the lower end of the cost in regard to selling of plots and the other work. And the recommendation was that we change those fees for next year, but I would assume that we could do that during our budget process, could we not? And when we're looking at revenues coming in? Question for you, Madam Mayor, or for Donna or whoever.
Okay,
Yes.
I think Michael can answer that, or Kathy, yes? That is when we would do it, is at budget time?
Yes, we can certainly do it at budget time.
Okay, then to follow up, Madam Mayor, is that I'm asking that this report be included and as part of our budget process for the upcoming year.
It will
Okay,
be.
will do.
The one comment I'd have on the report is I would like to have seen some local comparisons, like in Lanark, maybe at Addington Highlands, sort of the cemeteries right around us, just to see how we compare to them. Maybe we could ask Donna to do a little more follow-up down the road
For
prior
sure.
to
We-
budget.
Yes, and we can use it as part of within our budget meeting, for sure.
Okay. Okay, any other questions or comments? Nikki?
Just a quick question, and I think it's maybe better for the budget time, but I agree with Councillor McDonald. We need to look at it. Are we charging at least enough for cost recovery on our cemeteries?
Michael
I
would
don't know.
need to tell.
Michael
Tell
might be
us
able to
about-
answer that question. In
Through
regards.
your worship, sorry, Kathy, through your worship to Councillor Gowdy, that's something I would want to look at. I could print a quick report if you just give me a few minutes and give you a quick answer, or I can give you a thorough answer when we meet for the budget.
Budget time's pretty good, Michael, but thank you.
Okay, you're welcome.
I can give you my guess. By the amount of grass cutting that we do, we don't sell enough plots to cover the grass cutting per year. Anyway, we'll see what Michael comes up with. All right, all those in favor of the motion to accept the report for information? Motion's carried. Okay. Now we are at the Crow Lake Schoolhouse. I have a motion moved by Sherry Wan and seconded by Tom Dewey. Whereas council declared 1867 Crow Lake Road surplus to its needs and sold the property in December to the successful bidder following the RFP process. And whereas the new owner plans to restore the property to its original form and use it for community uses, including for historical displays and interpretation for the community. Now, therefore, be it resolved that council provide direction to staff whether it wishes to give the bell to the new owner or loan the bell to the purchaser on the condition that if the property sells or is not used for the historical community use contemplated, that the bell is returned to the township. Discussion. So what do you want to do? Okay, Tom and then Victor.
Thank you, Your Worship. I think this bell, there's a lot of historical value in maintaining the ownership of that bell. And I would definitely go along with loaning the bell and some of the other artifacts. I believe there's pictures and other stuff there, and having those returned at some future date if there was ever a need within our municipality. I would support loaning it.
Okay, Victor.
Tom took the words out of my mouth. I agree with supporting it, and also perhaps the resolution should include the photographs because there were also yeah, so having the historical photographs included in the loan as well, and perhaps that should be in the resolution.
Okay, Sherry and Tom, are you both in agreement if I add and the photographs?
Yes, I am, Madam Mayor.
Yes, definitely.
Okay, so wish to give the bell and photographs to the new owner or loan the bell and photographs to the purchaser on the condition that if the property sells or is not used for the historical community use contemplated, that the bell is returned to the township. Bill, go ahead.
Yes, through you, Madam Mayor, just a question regard, should there be some responsibility for these assets also to go along with that motion? In other words, if something happens to this building, I wouldn't want to see it happen, or if it ends up we're losing this thing, whose responsibility is that going to be?
Okay, I guess we would need to see the insurance that these items are named in the insurance policy. Kathy or Michael, could you speak to that?
Michael on?
I'm here. I was just trying to look up the other question. So the bell, I don't think would be specifically on the policy, but if we wanted to cover it, I would just check with Bill and see that we namely specifically that bell, if there's any other details about it. And I'm sure it would be covered, but I would have to double check.
Mm-hmm.
Like we have the
But it's not
contents of her.
But it won't be on our property. It will be on Miss Meek's property.
Right, but I believe
So
that
we
we
would
could still,
need-
sorry, Madam Mayor.
I'm just saying we would need her to show us that the bell and the photographs are covered under her insurance.
Yes, that would be good, but I would still want it covered under our insurance as well. I would check with
Okay.
Bill for his advice with our broker, but that's my thought.
Okay, all right. Anyone else want to weigh in? It sounds like so far we prefer to loan it than to give it. Is that the direction to staff? Okay, so staff is listening and they'll take that forward.
Absolutely.
So our motion says that we can do both. So you have heard the discussions and you can go forward from there. Okay, all those in favor? Motion's carried.
Your Worship,
There's
if I
Bill
may,
with us.
Diane,
Yes?
Diane Meeks here wants to speak. Lisa,
Oh,
come up.
okay, Diane. The motion's already been dealt with, but you're welcome to speak.
Just a moment, I'll have to move her over. Hang on a moment, please.
Okay. She may be going to answer our liability question.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can, Diana, go ahead.
Okay, well, I guess I'm just a little disappointed, Madam Mayor, because that's not what the letter was that I shared with council, and I'm not sure if council is aware of the full story. So that's why I would, before you went ahead and made the motion, it would have been nice that you allowed me to speak on my behalf of my building. When I went to purchase the building, I was not even aware that there was a bell. So before I closed on the property, I asked Cindy, is there a bell? Because the community was asking me, are you going to put up the bell? We want to hear the bell. I said, I'm not sure if there's even one. That was never brought forth. So Cindy said, yes, there's a bell. So my lawyer wrote that we wanted to put that as an addendum, that the original school bell go with the school. And I was told by Cindy that she will refuse to include that as an addendum to the purchase of the property. And she said she would not discuss it. So I wrote a letter requesting that the original school bell be returned to the original property. I did not ask to loan it. I did not ask or do not want the pictures on loan. Because, and even if you talk to, I've talked to many people in the community, and they're just shocked that the bell was not even included in this. So my letter to you was not conveyed to the council properly, which is concerning and disappointing. My insurance covers what I'm going to be doing with it. And I would like to, as you indicated, or as I indicated in my letter when I purchased it, to restore it to its original property. I'd like to ring the bell at the beginning of the day and at the end of the day. And the community is asking about this as well. If you want to, if the council is willing to consider that on the, again, going back to the original purpose or original purchase, that was not, I was denied that, and that wasn't even brought forth to council.
Diana, just to interrupt, typically when we sell a property, we take out the goods that are inside that property, and that bell was one of the things that the municipality wanted to keep and not sell with the property. So that's why it wasn't included in the purchase. That bell we could maybe use at the beach to put something down there down the road.
Okay, well,
I don't know who you're talking to.
Okay, well, if the township wants to keep it, then I would like to request that I can come and take pictures and dimensions of it, and I will get a mock-up done. I feel, and so do many people in the community, that they don't understand why the township would not include it with the purchase of the original building, which is where it was. And the fact that I was denied that as an addendum, there was no discussion. I was told no discussion with regards to that. So, and people in the community will be happy to provide pictures. They're so excited about what I'm doing in the area. So, if the township wants to keep them and do whatever, that's fine. But I would like to come, and if I could get a picture of the dimensions, and I will make a replica if the township will not provide the original one, because I want nothing but to better the community. And
okay. Well, and I think, as you heard here tonight, the council does not want to sell the bell. We want to keep it, and we would loan it to you. But I believe, from what I've heard, if you would like to take pictures and get the dimensions and all that, we can arrange that in the spring when the snow is a little thinner than it is now. Is that council's doesn't have a problem with that?
No.
Okay. All right, so the motion stands that we will keep the
Madam
bell.
Mayor, Victor's got his hand up.
Yes, go ahead, Victor.
Yes, thank you. From Ms. Meek's comments, it seems to me as if she misunderstands our motion. It seems that like we're prepared for her to have the bell and the photographs on site for as long as it remains a community center. It's just that we want to maintain ownership so that in case the building is sold, or in case the usage changes, then we can retain those historical artifacts for the township and for the entire community. So I just hope that Ms. Meeks understands that we're allowing the bell to be on site. We just want to retain ownership.
And I don't, and when
Right.
I talk to people in the community, you know, Victor, I appreciate your comments. I understand what you're saying. But people in the community don't understand why the township is keeping it and why they wouldn't want to put it where it belongs. So anyway, and I can't control if someone comes along and destroys it. I don't want to be responsible for that. So if it's mine, then, you know, I take responsibility. But, you know, that's fine. If you want to, you know, keep it wherever, I'll just share that with the community that, and again, the whole way that it was asked to be included as an addendum and was not, you know, there was no discussion. No, I won't discuss this, was really concerning. And just so that, you know, there's a lot of members in the community that will really be, you know, disappointed, shocked, you know, by this, but that's fine. And
Well,
I'm
be
just,
sure
again,
to
sorry that my
let
letter
them
was
know
not
that we were
communicated.
prepared to loan it to you. Okay, all right.
Thanks for your time.
Thank you. Right. Next, we have a motion moved by Bill McDonald and seconded by Sherry Wan. Whereas an expression of interest has been received to obtain an easement interest in a portion of the KMP Trail located the east half of Lot 5, Concession 3, Oso. And whereas this section of the KMP is still owned by the municipality, but is managed by the county. And whereas the expression of interest has been circulated among staff and stakeholders for comment pursuant to our policy. And whereas more research and information is required prior to staff bringing a recommendation forth to council, now therefore it be it resolved that council receive this report as information at this time and request staff to bring it back to the February 8th, 2022 meeting. Discussion. Bill?
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor. I will withhold most of my comments in regard to this particular incident until we get the next report. Thank you very much.
Okay. Any other questions or comments on this? There's more to come. Okay, all those in favor? Carried. Okay, I have a motion moved by Brent Cameron and seconded by Philip Smith that council receive the Planning Update 2021 Summary Report prepared by the Deputy Clerk and the Development Service Assistant for information. Any discussion on the report? Okay, hearing no discussion, all those in favor? Carried. Right. Okay, I have a motion moved by Sherry Wan and seconded by Cindy Kelsey. Whereas Charbot Lake has recently shown a significant invasive of the Eurasian water milfoil, EWM, which is highly aggressive weed and if not controlled, can completely infiltrate major portions of Charbot Lake. And whereas the Charbot Lake Property Owners Association, in coordination with Mr. Wade Leonard of Granite Ridge Education Center, will be working on this project to produce a flyover of affected portions of Charbot Lake by the EWM. And whereas the Charbot Lake Property Owners Association is requesting support of council for this project. Now, therefore, be it resolved that council support the Charbot Lake Property Owners Association on this project, which includes a micro grant submission to the Invasive Species Center of Ontario. Discussion. Just to let you know, this is also in Eagle Lake, and Tom, I think you said maybe Kennebec was getting it as well.
Yes, yes.
Bill, you had your hand up?
Yes, through you, Madam Mayor, and I have a question, but I support this project, don't get me wrong. But I'm just wondering what, if anything, can be done about the invasion of these weeds, because Charbot Lake is being overtaken by the weeds. And I'm just wondering if the scientist, the biologist, or whoever can actually give any advice for property owners on all of these lakes, because I've certainly got questions from people about bringing in weed harvesters and all that sort of thing. But I'm just wondering if there's some scientific answer to this issue.
Well, I will tell you that the Charlotte Lake property owners are looking for some expertise. I am trying to get a contact in Queens, and any contacts that we have in the community, that some biologists that have done research on this. So this is the beginning of their project to map what's there, and they are digging into what they can do about it. The problem is with this material, once you move it, if you don't remove it, it just spreads it. It's like pulling a sumac root. More roots come up when the big one comes down. So yes, they are looking for answers on how to get rid of it. Brent?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. And I know that we've had some discussion about this. I've reached out to some of my contacts on campus, the Queen's Biology Department, in particular, individuals who are specializing in water ecology and this sort of thing. I'm awaiting word, and certainly any contacts or referrals that I can get will get passed on really quickly.
Excellent. And I'm sure whatever Charlotte Lake Association learns, they'll share with the other property associations as well. The chairs, I think, speak quite regularly. Okay, all those in favor of the motion? Motion's carried. Right. We have a motion moved by Nikki Gowdy and seconded by Victor Hayes that the minutes from the December 16th, 2021 Quinte Conservation Executive Board meeting be received for information. Any questions or discussions? All those in favor? Carried. Motion moved by Tom Dewey and seconded by Philip Smith that the minutes of the Joint Accessibility Advisory Committee meeting held October the 27th, 2021 be received for information. Any questions or comments? All those in favor? Carried. I just want to add at this time that Nikki had mentioned we need to take the time to review our committees and the minutes and whether or not these are committees that we need to have going forward this year. And staff are putting together that list, and hopefully we'll have it either next meeting or the first meeting or the second meeting in February, if not the first meeting in February. Kathy, is that still doable?
Yes, it is. Yes, I will probably take the lead on that to pull all the information that I have in regards to those committees. So, and we report really the second meeting of the month, the administration. So it may not be in time for the 8th, but it will be definitely for the 22nd.
Okay. And it's also something that we can talk about at budget time as well.
Correct, because that way we may not want to continue some of these committees. And some have been silent for some time, that there's no more work because they were just ad hoc committees.
Right, okay. All right. Can we skip on to our correspondence and then come back to our presentation as we get closer to 5 o'clock?
For sure.
All right. Have a motion moved by Nikki Gowdy and seconded by Brent Cameron that the following correspondence received as of January 25th, 2022 be received for information. And there's just the two of them. United Counties of Stormont, Dundas, Glengarry about the Rural Education Symposium, and North Frontenac Township about their proposed amendment for rezoning a property in that township. Any discussion? All those in favor? Carried. All right. Maybe at this point, we should take a little recess and come back at 5 o'clock. Cindy, what do you suggest? I'm at bylaws. I can keep going with the bylaws.
I'm wondering maybe at least the borrowing bylaw, because we do still have Michael, if there's any questions relating to that.
Okay. I've
And the
got
committee of
committee of
adjustment
adjustment.
bylaw, yeah, we
Yeah.
could do that one as well. Actually, we could do all of them. I don't see any reason why not.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, let's go ahead and then we'll be ready to do the fire once we do fire all at once. All right. I have a motion by Tom Dewey and seconded by Cindy Kelsey. That bylaw 2022-04, being a bylaw to appoint members of the Committee of Adjustment, be read a first, second, and third time, and finally passed this 25th day of January 2022. Any discussion? Everybody's ready to serve for another year? All those in favor?
Can you opt out, Madam Mayor?
No. I wasn't giving you that option. Okay, motion moved by Philip Smith and seconded by Victor Hayes, that bylaw 2022-05, being a bylaw to appoint a fire chief manager of emergency services, be read a first, second, and third time, and finally passed this 25th day of January 2022. Discussion? All those in favor? Motion carried.
I thought everyone was going to hold off on their hand up there for a while.
Chris is sitting there looking at us going, what's going on? Hey, a motion moved by Sherry Wan and seconded by Bill McDonald, that bylaw 2022-06, being a bylaw to authorize the borrowing from time to time to meet current expenditures during the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2022, be read a first, second, and third time, and finally passed this 25th day of January 2022. Discussion? Bill?
Yes, through you, Madam Mayor, to Michael. Michael, at what, given that the interim tax bill has been sent out and cash flow is actually probably starting to come back in, what portion of any of this do you find yourself having to actually borrow?
We haven't had to borrow since I've been here, and that's no pat on the back for me. It's just the way it's been. So it's still something that we have to pass because I believe that RBC needs it, and then they put us to that criteria as they analyze our financial statements when they come out, because they actually asked for it this year, the first time in probably 6 years.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. All right. All those in favor of the motion? Carried. All right. So that is all of that formal parts of the meeting until we do the fire.
Right.
It is 4:33. Can I suggest that we recess until 5 o'clock? Actually, let's come back about 10 to 5.
Sounds
So
good.
Cindy, will you?
We just stay here.
You can stay here, or you can use the same, you can leave and come back using the same link.
Is that correct, Cindy? We're just doing the same link? Oh, she's still muted.
Sorry, yes. I will stop the live feed, but I'll leave the meeting open. So you can either leave and come back or just stay on. It doesn't matter. And we'll have everybody back right at 5 or before 5 so we can bring in the South Frontenac folks.
Okay.
Sounds good. I'll just